The topics which are going to be covered in today's lecture are: first, we will talk about the current sources. So, a general introduction about the current sources will be covered here. What are the main characteristics, or you can say ideal characteristics of current sources will be discussed. After that, we will discuss what are the characteristics of non-ideal current sources, because practically when you use a current source, you cannot expect the characteristics of ideal current source. So, there will be major deviations in the characteristics. So, what are those deviations and what are the parameters which describe those deviations? Those will be discussed in that section. After that, we will see the circuit which can be used to implement a current source, and we will see how a MOSFET device can be used as a current source. Later on, we will do some modifications into that MOSFET based current source, and that modification will be using negative feedback. So, what kind of modification we are expecting, that we will discuss in the course of the lecture. So, first let us talk about current sources. So, in your school education also, I think you have studied in 10+2 in the physics subject about the current sources. So, maybe they were defined there in brief. So, but what is a current source? So, the symbol of current source is something like this. So, V is the voltage which is appearing across the current source, and I naught is the current which is passing through the current source, and the current goes from positive terminal to negative terminal, or you can say from high potential to low potential. So, current have a direction in the current source, and what we expect if we look at the characteristics. So, here you can see on the x axis there is V voltage which appears across the current source, and on the y axis there is current which passes through the current source, and you can see the characteristics. It is a straight line. What it says, I naught amount of current is passing through the source, even if you change the voltage which is shown on the x axis. You change the voltage in positive direction or in negative direction, doesn't matter. Whatever is the magnitude of voltage across it, that doesn't matter, but the current through the source, that should always remain same. So, this is the characteristic of a ideal current source. So, you can say how to define a ideal current source. So, ideal current source, it is a two terminal element whose current is constant for any voltage across the source. And if we talk about the ideal current source, there is one parameter or one characteristics that is R naught. R naught is the resistance, that should be infinite. Practically it is very high, but ideally it should be infinite. And how it is defined? So, this R naught actually that is the change in voltage divided by change in current. So, you know, in case of a current source, the change in the current, that should be 0, and if change in the current is 0, so definitely this resistance is going to be infinite. So, voltage can change, it can have any value, there may be small change, there may be big change, doesn't matter. The change in the current, that should be as small as possible, and ideally it should be 0, and this is the situation in this graph. And that is why in this graph we see that R naught is infinite. R naught is the resistance, that should be infinite in case of ideal current source, and in case of practical current sources, its value will be as high as possible. Now, that is the basic understanding about the current sources. So, when we use current sources in a circuit, how the connections have to be made. So, you know, if we have a voltage source, then the load is connected in parallel to the source, but in case of current source, load will be connected in series with it. So, the connections will be something like this, you can see here. So, this is a circuit, and this circuit is actually your load. So, it can be a single resistance or it can be some circuit. So, whatever it is, that is your load, and load is connected with the source in series. You see, connections are like this, and two potentials are shown here. So, one is the most positive voltage Vp, and one is the most negative potential Vn. So, here you see this is your source. The source is connected to most negative potential in the circuit, and then On the other side, the source is connected to circuit, and then circuit one terminal of the circuit is connected to most positive voltage, and the current is going from most positive to most negative, means in the downward direction. Current is going like this. Now, this is one way of connecting the circuits. So, the circuit can be connected in different way also. In some situations you will see the connections would be like this. So, your source is here, that is your source, and your load or your circuit is here. So, that is your load. So, what difference is there? Now, if you look at the source, one terminal of the source is connected to most positive. So, it is connected to most positive, and in this first figure, one terminal of source was connected to most negative. So, these are two different kind of configurations when we connect means through which we connect your current source in a circuit. Sorry. Now, you can read this statement. One of the two terminals of the source is always common with most positive voltage or with most negative voltage. So, your source have two terminal. So, one terminal out of these two will be connected either with the most negative. So, here it is with the most negative, for example, in this case, and in the second case I am writing here too. In the second case, one terminal of this current source is connected to most positive. Now, depending on the configuration, whether the source is connected to most negative potential or most positive potential, we can classify the current sources in two different categories. One is current sink and the second one is current source. So, we call it current sink because here you see the current source is on the bottom side, means the current is entering into the source. You can see here current is entering into the source. So, this configuration is known as current sink. And the second figure, if you look at, you see the current is coming out of the source. You see here the current is coming out. This is your source, and the current is coming out of the source, and then it is going to the circuit. So, this configuration is known as current source. So, although when we talk in journal way, we use a single term current source for both the configurations, but if you go in more technical details, these two are different configurations. So, the first one is current sink and second one is current source. But most of the time you will see when we are going to discuss these kind of, when we are going to use this kind of circuit as a part of big systems, we will call it as a current source only. So, we will not use current sink or current source as a separate terms. We will use a single term current source, and that term is valid for both the configurations. So, now after having this sorry, understanding about the current sources, now let us move forward. So, what happens in the practical current sources means a non-ideal current source or current sink. So, what happens in case of a non-ideal current source or current sink? Now, let us see. Suppose we have this kind of configuration. So, ideally what we expect that the current which is passing through this circuit, that current should always remain same, does not matter how much voltage is appearing here across the circuit or across the source, right. So, current should always remain same. Sorry, but practically if you plot the characteristics look like this. So, is this for this system, the characteristics will look like this. Here you see on the x axis there is V, y axis again the current which is passing through this source or sink, whatever it is, I naught, and here on the x axis this V n is indicated most negative potential, and this is most positive potential. Most positive potential is on the right side and most negative potential is on the left side. That is normal practice. So, here you can see there is a range, the shaded portion. I am making it more shaded. So, you will see here within this range what happens, the current source may not act as a good current source. So, in case of ideal current source, over the entire voltage range current will remain constant, but practically it may happen that within a small range of voltages your circuit is working as a good current source or current sink, and beyond that range it is not working as a good current source or current sink. So here in the characteristic curve, the shaded portion is the portion where the circuit is not acting as a good current source, or you can say the current changes with voltage, that is happening here, and beyond this, in this part, it acting as a current source or a current sink. So but within this part also, you see here, this curve is not perfectly horizontal, but we will discuss about it later. So first, let's understand that there may be a range of voltages for which your circuit is not acting as a ideal current source or as a good current source. So that voltage here is defined as V minimum. So starting from Vn to this particular voltage. So V minimum, that is the minimum voltage, right, below which your current source or current sink, sorry, will not act as a ideal source. So this portion, shaded portion, we are talking about, and so that way, whenever you work with a current source or current sink, you should ask this question, what is its V minimum, because that voltage will tell you the range up to which it is not going to give you the perfect characteristics of a current source. Second parameter, you see, we are saying that the current source is working as a good current source within this range, but within this range also, you see, the curve is not flat curve. What we were expecting that the current should not change with the voltage, right, but within this range also there is change in the current with voltage, and that you can see from the slope of the curve. Slope is 1 by R naught. I hope that now you understand that inverse of resistance is slope of the curve. So that indicates that the variation in voltage across the current source is occurring, right, variation in the current is occurring in the current source when the applied voltage is changing. So for that purpose, this parameter R naught is defined. R naught is actually resistance of a non-ideal current source or current sink. Normally it is large, but we cannot say that it is infinite. It is finite. It's not infinite. Ideally it should be infinite. Practically it is not infinite. Of course it is large, but it is finite. So how large it is, that is indicated by the slope. If it is a flat curve, means it is infinite. So in this case it is infinite, but here in this dark portion, you see this dark curve, it is not infinite. Of course it is very large, but not infinite. So these characteristics which are shown here, they are for the current sink arrangement. So if we have this kind of current source arrangement, for that also the characteristics will have the same parameter. Only difference you will see, the V minimum is defined on this side. So the Vp is the most positive voltage here. So starting from most positive, we move towards this left side, and here this V minimum is defined, within which it is not going to act as ideal current source, and again within this range it is going to act as a good current source, but here also the slope you see, it is not a flat curve. So it means R naught is not infinite. Yeah, of course it is large. So now I hope that you understand that when you characterize a current source, you have to think about two parameters. One parameter is the V minimum voltage below which it is not going to act as a good current source, and the second parameter is R naught. R naught is resistance, output resistance. Ideally it should be infinite, practically it is not infinite, but yes, it is very large. It should be as large as possible. So now let us move to the next part. Sorry. Implementation of current source. So we are going to discuss implementation of a current source with the help of MOS device. So you see, if we use MOSFET device as a current source, the connections will be something like this. So this is gate terminal, the gate terminal is biased, and for biasing gate terminal, this VGG this voltage is applied between gate and source terminal. So that is biasing. This is NMOS device. So this gate is at positive potential with respect to source. Someone want to say something? किसी का माइक ऑन है शायद. So अच्छा ठीक है. So anyway, so voltage which is appearing across the output terminals, that is V here. So it is between this positive terminal and negative terminal. So this is the voltage which is appearing across this source, and I amount of current is going through this. And how much current will be there? Of course, you know the working of MOSFET device, that will be controlled by VGG, right? So how good current source it will make? So for that we have to look at its characteristics. So you know the characteristics of a MOSFET device look like this. Here on the x-axis it is drain source voltage, and here on the y-axis it's current, and this current of course that is your ID, and V here is your VDS, drain source voltage, because this is drain terminal and this is source terminal. So the voltage across this source is drain source voltage, and you know the characteristics look like this. Now if you look at these characteristics, you can see that MOSFET device act as a good current source in saturation region. So this is ohmic region and this is saturation region. So within the saturation region, you see the current is almost constant. So even if the V voltage across this source is changing, but current is not changing so much. But if you look at the ohmic region, in ohmic region current changes significantly when voltage across it is changing. So this portion is not used to make it as a current source. Only the saturation part, this is your shaded part, only this is the portion where you can use this device as a current source. So remember, if you want to use MOSFET as a current source, you have to bias it in saturation region. Now how much current will be supplied by this current source, that will be given by this equation. You remember this equation. This equation gives you current in the saturation region. So the important parameter, if you look at the characteristics, so one important parameter is this V minimum. We discussed in the previous slides that there are two important parameters in current source. One is the V minimum, the minimum voltage below which it will not act as a current source. So here you see this is your pinch off voltage actually. So before pinch off, device was in the active region or in the linear region or ohmic region. So here it is not going to act as a good current source. So your V minimum is actually your Vp, and that is VGG minus Vt. So Vp, you know that Vp is VGS minus Vt. So here your VGS, gate source voltage, is VGG. So that's why VGG is there, and Vt of course is there. So in the characteristic curve, this V in is defined, and that you can find out with VGG minus Vt. So whatever minimum voltage you can afford in your circuit, so that you can decide by controlling VGG. VGG in your control. So that you have to be careful with this parameter, because if you increase VGG, your V minimum will increase. That way you will have a short range in which your device or your circuit is going to act as a current source. So you try to make this VGG as small as possible, but remember, if you reduce VGG, then your current will also reduce, because current here that depends on VGG. So what value of current you want, that will decide what is your V minimum. So second parameter, that was the output resistance, and output resistance in case of MOSFET, you know from the small signal analysis of MOSFET, the output resistance that actually is your drain source voltage, right? Drain source voltage, that is your output resistance, and drain source voltage, you know, that is inverse of GDS, and that you already know from our earlier discussion that it is given by 1 by lambda I naught, right? This I naught is actually your operating point current, right? So you can see here output resistance depends on lambda. So you know, if lambda is 0 in the laboratory or in the practical, in the experiments also you have seen that if lambda you put 0 in the device model, the characteristics which you get, those characteristics are something like this. So that happens if lambda is 0, and this characteristics which is here as a dark line here, lambda is not equal to 0, right, it is greater than 0, right. So in this case, if lambda is 0, you can see here, if you put lambda 0 here, your R naught will become infinite and the curve will become flat. So here R naught is infinite, this dotted line, but here in this dark line, R naught is not infinite, R naught is very large. So I hope that from this slide you know how to find out V minimum in this kind of circuit. Means when you use MOSFET as a current source, you can find V minimum, and you can find your output resistance. And if you want to control the output resistance, you have to control the parameters here, and if you want to control V minimum, you have to control your VGG, right. Now you see here in this circuit, your R naught, that is of course very high. Okay, it is not infinite, but it's very high, and it is normally in several mega ohms. Typical value is near about 1 mega ohm. That much output resistance this circuit is offering, but still this value is not high. You know that ideally it should be infinite, and if we want to improve the performance of our current source, we should try to increase this output resistance as high as possible and try to make it infinite. We cannot make it infinite because that is the ideal system, but we can make it as high as possible. So this R naught which is available in this circuit, that of course is high, but it is not sufficient. We have to find the ways so that we can increase it further. So you have to be careful about it. Our purpose is to find out the ways which can make this R naught as high as possible, so that we can get the almost ideal characteristics from our source. So how to improve it, that we will see in the next slide. So we can improve the characteristics of this MOSFET based current source using negative feedback, right, negative feedback. So this negative feedback is similar to the feedback which you use in your amplifier circuits also. So if you are designing a BJT based amplifier, you provide negative feedback there by inserting a resistance which is Re. So that resistance is at is between the emitter terminal and ground terminal. If you are working with a amplifier which uses a MOSFET device, there also you do same thing, and there you put RS, source resistance, which is connected between source terminal and ground terminal. So that resistance have a particular job. It provides negative feedback which will stabilize your operating point. So the same kind of feedback we have to apply here. So how this feedback is applied, you can see here. We are connecting a RS here, that this R, it is indicated as R, but in case of amplifier circuits, you will see that this resistance is shown as RS, source resistance. Now how it improves? You know, suppose the ideal characteristic says that if output voltage changes, current should not change. Suppose your V is increasing. If your V is increasing, what happens? What you expect? Your I will increase. And if I increases, Vs is voltage at this point, Vs. What we expect? We expect that your Vs will increase. Voltage across this resistance means your source voltage will increase. But here your gate voltage, you see, this is VGG, because this gate voltage is decided by this battery which is connected here. So your gate voltage is fixed. If gate voltage is fixed, what will happen? If source voltage is increasing, the VGS will decrease. VGS means the voltage which is appearing between this gate and source terminal. So this voltage will decrease. Why? Because your VG is fixed and Vs is increasing. So, what it will do? It will decrease your VGS. Your VGS will decrease, right? And if VGS decreases, if VGS decreases, what will happen? Your current will decrease, because the current ID is decided by VGS. So, you can look here. So, here for the arrow I will use a different color, so that you can understand it more clearly. If V output voltage is increasing, then the current of course will increase here, because we know that in case of MOSFET device, when voltage changes, there is a small increase in the current even in the saturation region. In the previous slide we have seen it. So, if voltage changes, current of course will change, and if this current is changing, your Vs is increasing, right, because this Vs is I into this R, that is your Vs. So, this will increase, and if your Vs is increasing, your VGS, that is decreasing, because Vg is fixed, Vs is increasing, VGS is Vg minus Vs. So, VGS will decrease, and if VGS is decreasing, current I depends on gate source voltage. So, your I will also decrease. So, what this feedback is doing? This feedback is doing a type of like pulling back action. Your current is trying to increase, maybe because of increasing output voltage, but when this current tries to increase, it gives a feedback to this gate source voltage, and it gives a negative feedback, means it will decrease the gate source voltage. Your current here is increasing, but this increase in current is decreasing the gate source voltage, and if gate source voltage is decreasing, current will decrease. So, it will not allow current to increase, right, and that is why I am saying it is a pulling back action. It is trying to pull the current in the downward direction. Now, in this particular type of circuit, if we want to do its detailed analysis, a detailed analysis means we have to understand what is its V minimum and how much output resistance it will offer. When we use a single transistor, then output resistance is RDS, and now when we are inserting this resistance, our output resistance will increase, because this resistance is coming in series. So, how to find out that output resistance, that we have to see, and for that we will use the method of the small signal analysis. For that we will draw the small signal for this circuit, and then we will try to find out the total resistance between output terminal. Output terminal means this positive terminal and this negative terminal. Remember, RDS is the resistance which is offered by this part of device, and R is the resistance which is inserted here. So, both will play a significant role in the output resistance. And what we are expecting? We are expecting increase in the resistance. So, small signal model is drawn here. You see here what it is. This part is the small signal model of your MOSFET device. Now, I can change this color again. So, this is small signal model of your MOSFET device. We have shown only two terminal, this is drain and source, this side. Gate does not matter, because right now we are talking about output resistance. And here the source terminal, that is connected to this resistance. So, this resistance is shown here. You see, source terminal is connected to this resistance. Now, suppose delta V is the change in the voltage. This change in voltage is between these two terminals, this positive terminal and negative terminal. Then the resistance R naught, that will be change in the ratio of change in voltage across the terminals divided by the change in the current. So, if you solve this circuit using your normal network analysis theorem, you see these are conductances, and here also this component can also be represented by this GDS conductances. So, these conductances they can be added because they are in parallel, right, and that way you can find out the resistance offered by this top combination, and then you have to add that resistance to this particular part. So when you do that kind of simple network analysis, then you can find out the total resistance which appears between these two terminal, positive and negative terminal, and that resistance is given by this expression. So here this RDS is the drain source resistance of this device, GM is the transconductance of the device, GMB is the transconductance because of the bulk voltage, and GDS of course is conductance of the channel, right, and this R is the resistance which is connected here. So after analysis you will find these parameters here, and remember one thing here, we are not ignoring GMB. Why we are not ignoring GMB? Because you see here this bulk terminal, this is your bulk terminal, bulk terminal is connected to ground. So that way your VGB in this case is not 0. Why? If the bulk is connected to source, sorry, bulk source, not GB, this is bulk source. Let's make small correction. This is bulk source. So this bulk source voltage is not 0, because normally what happens, the bulk is connected to source, so there is no potential difference, both are at same potential, so VBS is 0. But here you see bulk is connected to ground and the source is not connected to ground. You see, source definitely will have higher potential as compared to ground, because current here is passing like this. So your source is at higher potential as compared to ground. So definitely VBS is not 0, and if VBS is not 0, it means we cannot ignore GMB in the circuit, right? Oh, anyway, so what I was telling you, that once you solve all these things using your normal network analysis knowledge, you will find total resistance R naught like this. And here also you can further simplify it. You know that this GM is large as compared to GMB and GDS, so you can ignore them, and the approximate value of this R naught output resistance will be given by this. So this part will be approximately 0, and this GDS will also be approximately 0 as compared to GM, right? They are not 0, but as compared to GM they are very small, so we can ignore them. So the net resistance, that will be given by this expression. So here you can see, when you are not adding this R here, this negative feedback was absent. At that time R naught was just this RDS. But when you are using this negative feedback and you have inserted this R here, what you are getting, this R naught is increasing by this factor 1 plus GMR. So this factor will multiply with RDS. So your resistance will increase significantly, maybe almost 100 times, something like this sometime. So you remember in earlier slide, R naught was output resistance was about 1 mega ohm, and here output resistance is near about 100 mega ohm. There is significant increase in the output resistance when we are inserting this resistance here. Okay, now this is one thing. Now I told you in earlier lectures that when we fabricate an integrated circuit, we try to implement resistance also using a active resistor, right? Why? Because you know what we need, this output resistance that is dependent on R. If this R is high, your output resistance will increase further. And what we know, what we want that the output resistance of the circuit should be as high as possible, and that can be achieved by increasing the value of R, right? That should be as high as possible. But if we fabricate very high value of resistance using the diffused resistance, the diffused resistor technique, which is the traditional and normal technique for fabrication of resistors, but that technique occupy large surface area, and in integrated circuits we want to reduce the use of surface area. So we implement resistors using the active resistors, or you can say we use MOSFET as a resistor. So that implementation is done something like this. You see, whatever this resistance here is replaced by this arrangement. What is this arrangement? All this arrangement. This resistance is replaced by this circuit. Here you see, in the circuit what is there? There is a MOSFET device, and this MOSFET device is biased. So this MOSFET device is biased here. It means this is also a type of current source, and this device is biased in the saturation region. So it is biased in the saturation region, and in saturation region this device will offer high resistance, and that high resistance will act as a feedback resistance for this entire current source, right. So the high value of resistance, what we wanted here as this feedback resistance, that is implemented with the help of another current source. So current source have a feedback resistance, and that feedback resistance also implemented by a current source. This is a current source. And of course, if we are using this as a current source, this M1 device is also biased in the saturation, right. Now, if we make this kind of arrangement, then the resistance which is offered by this M1, that is RDS, and this is first, so RDS1. So that is the resistance which is offered by this transistor here. Now this resistance RDS, that is acting as the feedback resistance for this M2. So now if you want to find out the total resistance which is offered between this positive terminal and negative terminal, that we have to find out with this same equation. But what changes we are making here? So this feedback resistance, that feedback resistance is replaced by RDS1, because that is the output resistance of this first transistor. And all other parameters, these parameters, they belong to the main device. All these parameters, they belong to main device, and in this circuit which we are discussing right now, all these parameters, they belong to M2 device, because that is our main current source here. So that's why you see this subscript that has been modified. This RDS1, RDS is your RDS2, your GM is your GM2, your GMB is GMB2, GDS is GDS2. All these parameters, they belong to M2 device, right. And this R, that is coming from M1 device, and this is your RDS1, right. So it belongs to M1 device. So that way you can see that the output resistance, that will be given by this equation, and if you further simplify it, you can rewrite it like this also, that it is R ds2 bracket 1 plus Gm2 into R ds1, right. So it's almost same thing. RDS is RDS2, GM is GM2, and R, instead of R we are using this RDS1, right. So that way we get a significant increase in the output resistance, and good thing is that we are able to implement this negative feedback in this current source using the MOSFET transistor. We are not using a passive resistor, we are using this MOSFET transistor in saturation region, and in saturation region it is acting as a current source, and this current source, you know, have very high value of output resistance. So current source is being used to improve the performance of a current source. So here you see the output resistance. So unfortunately this sentence is here within this red line. So the output resistance here is about 100 mega ohm. So I can just change the color. This R naught, that is about 100 mega ohm. So significant increase is there. R naught, you see, it's about 100 mega ohm here. And when we were using the single transistor, means there was no feedback at that time, output resistance was about 1 mega ohm, right. Now in the next slide we will see the characteristics, what kind of changes we see in the characteristics because of this particular modification. So, if we plot the IV characteristics of this circuit, the IV characteristics will look like this, right. So, you will see what is big change here, nothing, it is the characteristics just like a MOSFET device, right. So, you will see this difference once you see the characteristics of a single MOSFET circuit. So, this was a single MOSFET circuit, and after improvement we are using the two MOSFET system. So, if we look at the characteristic of single MOSFET system, then the characteristics look like this. You can see here the slope of this curve. So, you look at the slope of this curve and you look at the slope of this curve. So, because of this feedback, what has happened, the curve have become little more flat. So, suppose this is your R naught here and this is your R naught here. Let us make it with this is with feedback. So, I am writing it with feedback, output resistance with feedback. So, you can see here the output resistance with feedback, that is much larger than output resistance without feedback, right, because the curves are more flat here, flat curve. And that has become possible because we are using this feedback here. This entire part is providing us feedback, and because of this feedback, this curve that has been pulled downward. So, this curve has been pulled downward, and you can see the result here in the top characteristic curve. So, I hope that now you will be able to appreciate the difference between a current source which is without feedback and which is with feedback. And remember, this feedback is negative feedback. We call it negative because current is increasing, but this current is this increase in the current is used in such a way that it reduces the gate source voltage, and reduction in gate source voltage means a reduction in the current. So, that kind of pulling back action has been taken place because of this feedback. Okay. So, now we understand that there is definitely improvement in the performance because of negative feedback, but what about the parameters? There are two parameters, output resistance and minimum voltage, V minimum. So, the output resistance, what is the value of output resistance or how to calculate it in case of feedback system, that we have seen in the earlier slide. Now, let us have a look at the minimum voltage, V minimum. That V minimum you can see here. So, here this V minimum was near about 1 volt, but here this V minimum have shifted little bit, right. So, if we are using this kind of feedback, then your V minimum definitely is moving up, right. So, you see there is a shift in the V minimum. Well, definitely this is a disadvantage. Your V minimum here in this case, V minimum in case of feedback arrangement is higher than V minimum without feedback. So, definitely this is a disadvantage, right, but we have to bear with this disadvantage because it is giving us another advantage, that is in term of higher output resistance. So, let us see how to find out the V minimum in this circuit. So, you know, in this circuit these two MOS devices are there and they are connected in series. So, since they are connected in series, they have same current. So, this is I2 which passes through M2 and this is I1 which passes through M1. Now, I2 and I1 they are same. So, I2 is equal to I1, or you can say I1 is equal to I2, it is same thing. So, here okay, it means their gate source voltage VGS minus VT, that is same thing. So, normally what happens, M1 and M2 they are normally matched transistors. M1 and M2 are matched transistors. Matched transistors means they have same K prime, they have same W by L, that is the meaning of matched transistors. And if we maintain VGS minus VT also same, the current is same. Here uh, already the current have to be same because these two devices are in series. So it means if current is same means their VGS minus VT, they that should also be same for both the cases. Now what current we want here, so that will be decided by VGG1. So once we know what should be the output current, so that output current I, that will decide your VGG1, right, because your VGG1 that is going to decide I. So if you are sure that you want this particular value of current here in the circuit, it means you can calculate what VGG will be needed here. Now what about VGG2? For VGG2 the calculation is not that much simple, because this VGG is not providing just the gate source voltage for this. So this VGG is gate source voltage of second device. So this VGG2 is actually gate source voltage of second device plus VDS1 of first device, right. So if you want to find out what should be the value of VGG2, you should be aware that what VGS2 I want, and that VGS2 of course if VT of these two devices are same, then VGS2 should be equal to VGG1, right. Anyway, so VGG2 that will be given by this equation, because I told you VGG2 that is the voltage sum of voltage which appear across this M1, that is VDS1, maybe it's saturation voltage, and plus VGS2, because these two voltages if added together they will be your VGG2. So that we have calculated using Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now you can put the values of VGS2 here. VGS2 you can find out from this equation first. So VGS2 is VGS1 minus VT1. This V2 will go that side, and that will be plus VT2. All this VGG1 minus VT1 plus VT2, that you can get from equation 1. So that way we have inserted value of VGS2 here from equation 1. So that way you can find out what should be the gate voltage GG2 VGG2 for a desired value of current into the circuit. And if you try to find out V minimum, that V minimum will be almost equal to 2 times VGG1 minus VT1. So the V minimum here, that will be the pinch off voltage of the first transistor, means VGS1 minus VT1, and VGS1 here is VGG1. It means VGG1 minus VT1. Almost similar is the minimum voltage for the second device to keep it in saturation. So that's why the total V minimum will be 2 times VGG1 minus VT1. So from this equation you can see that definitely V minimum have increased if we are using this feedback here. But we know the circuit is offering us very high value of output resistance. So that's why we prefer it. We once we know this is the voltage within which it is not working as a ideal current source, we will try to avoid the use of that particular voltage range. We will try to keep our source within that range which can offer us a good ideal current source characteristics. So that is in the hand of designer that we can do, right. So what we have learned today we have learned that what are current sources, what are the ideal characteristics of the current sources, what are non-ideal characteristics of current sources. We have seen there are 2 important parameters if you want to characterize a current source. They are V minimum and R naught. So after that we have seen that it is possible to use MOSFET as a current source. For that purpose MOSFET should be biased in saturation region only, because only in saturation it acts as a constant current source. After that we try to find out the output resistance, and later we increased this output resistance with the help of negative feedback. So we just have to put a source resistance, and that resistance provides a negative feedback, and that help us to increase the output resistance. Later we saw that resistance implementation also can be done with the help of active device, with the MOSFET device, and the MOSFET was used as a current source, because we already have seen that current sources offer high resistance at the output. So that resistance, which was the feedback resistance, that feedback resistance was implemented with the help of a current source, and that current source was implemented using again a MOSFET. So it's all MOSFET in the circuit. I hope the topic is clear to you. So if you have any question, any doubt, you can discuss with me. Thank you very much.